male-dominated movies, we see this shot. The shot of the female interest's body being dismembered and shot up close for the pleasure of the male audience. This results in women in the real world feeling the need to be sexy 24/7, and at the same time failing to do so. There is, however, a counterpart to this, which is the female gaze. However, this is a bit harder to define. Many people think the female gaze is just the opposite of the male gaze, so instead of the disembodying female body parts, it's just male body parts being dismembered for the female pleasure. A good example of this would be Magic Mike. But the female gaze is a lot more complicated than that. The female gaze pressures women to perform femininity 24/7 as well. And although many of you probably clicked on this video to hear me talk about how only the male gaze is toxic,
do you guys feel like, if anybody's in here, do you feel like you have to perform your femininity or perform your masculinity? I definitely believe that there's some edge to that, where it is performative, but that's that's taste making, you know. I think a part of that's natural, right? I think that's pretty natural too.
I'm sorry to inform you, but both are problematic. This is going to be another long video, so grab some tea, grab a blanket, or turn on your AC because it is the end of days type of hot out here. Like, this is not normal. You know, I got Octavian here with me, but y'all know the drill. I gotta pay my bills, so here's a word from our sponsor. Thank you to Proven for sponsoring this video. Proven is a woman-owned, personalized skincare subscription that helps you create your own customized skincare. All you gotta do is go to proven.com and take their quiz where you'll answer a few questions about your skin, lifestyle, environment, and skin history. My main target was dryness and wrinkles. After you finish the quiz, Proven will create a simple 3-step regimen specifically for you, which includes 1 cleanser, 1 day cream with SPF, and 1 night cream. You can look through your results and really study them. The packaging is also 100% recyclable and super cute and unique. The package not only comes with these really cool info cards that discuss how to use your product and what's in it.
You see, she goes crazy on her videos. Like, she puts a lot of effort into aligning the ideas. So shout out to her.
One product I absolutely loved was my personalized cleanser. Other cleansers make my skin feel like they're just cleaning the surface, but my Proven cleanser really feels like it's cleaning deeper, and it's also very gentle, so it doesn't feel like I'm using sandpaper to exfoliate, and my skin has definitely felt a lot more fresh and a lot less stressed. And your skin can feel like...
Now, is that the male gaze right there, or the female gaze she was being performative for? It has to be both, right? Because, right, the skin solution, the product has to, the Proven, it has to look like it's working, so you got to be pretty for everybody, right?
That too. Just go to proven.com, take the quiz yourself, and see your results. And of course, click the link below and use my code SALEM20 for $20 off your Proven skincare. Let's get into the video.
That's how the male gaze works, because I'm looking at it, I'm like, damn, that's okay. Yeah, like these all look like very normal clips to me, like when I've watched like what the nostalgic type 90s movies, and you know, Money Never Sleeps, these type of like classic American movies that put males in certain roles and put females and pit females in certain roles. Really interesting stuff.
Look how pretty my braids are. Pippi Longstocking who? When it comes to writing, the male protagonist is often strong and confident, capable, and then the female in the story is kind of there to just be there. Female characters are often there to be the object of desire by the love interest, but they're also there to be the object of desire for the audience. In filming, the male gaze is basically the perspective of the camera. It lingers over the female body in ways meant to titillate the eyeballs of the men watching. Titillate. I hate that word. The camera basically...
Titillating.
films the woman in disembodied parts, which dehumanizes her. If that doesn't sound familiar quite yet, let me give you some examples. Some examples of the male gaze include women wearing tight, inappropriate clothing, while male counterparts are appropriately dressed for the occasion, framing women so that their cleavage is always in frame, and finally using the female body as a prop. And there are a lot of movies that
You gotta imagine a world that where a butt and supple breasts and nice high cheekbones and shiny eyes were ugly features. Um, that's what I as a I'm always I'm thinking of that too. Like I understand how these attitudes and these perspectives and these type of these type of like depiction habits can be harmful to certain people. The trends make you feel like you're never good enough. Make you feel like I understand that people um, do feel that way about some of these issues. Um, I'm just wondering, like, what if some of these things that we found beautiful on another planet, what if they're ugly?
do this, such as The Wolf of Wall Street, Transformers, and every Adam Sandler movie ever. Like, they all fall under the trope of ugly funny guy has very suspiciously hot wife. And the male gaze isn't only in movies, it's also extremely embedded into video games. Do you guys hear that? It sounds like, oh no, the boys TM are gonna come for my throat. An example of this is the Batman video game where Catwoman is always in the frame and her walk.
That's funny. The ugly. She said the ugly funny guy has a suspiciously hot wife. So interesting.
Is very
So I've got my essay written, and I've been working on it for
Sorry, I'm
about a
having
week.
some weird
So now I'm going to show you how I
connection
use Grammarly
issues.
to edit. Okay, so here's my essay, and I'm going to click through Grammarly suggestions in the right panel. Your sentence may be unclear or hard to follow. Consider rephrasing. That's true. This is much
I'm
better.
just trying to give this a
I didn't know
moment
my
to
writing contained so many run-on sentences
get
until I.
ready.
yeah. Gaming mechanics make it so that she's
So we missed that. So it goes.
like, they all fall under the trope of ugly funny guy has very suspiciously hot wife. And the male gaze isn't only in movies, it's also extremely embedded into video games. Do you guys hear that? It sounds like, oh no, these TM are gonna come for my throat. An example of this is the Batman video game where Catwoman is always in the frame and her walk is very, yeah. Gaming mechanics make it so that she's always in front of you so you can see her bust.
That's what I'm saying. What does that mean then? Like if Catwoman can't be as she's known to be extremely sexy in a overweight, well, like desexualizing like ourselves would be boring.
Sis looks good, not gonna lie, but what does Catwoman's butt have to do with Batman's dead parents? You know what I mean? The male gaze is also really big in music videos. I don't even think I have to dig too deep into like this category of male gaze because anyone who's seen a male rapper music video, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Very often in music videos, women are hypersexualized. They're meant to show off his alpha male status as well as his wealth. Women are used as well as
That is low key horrible. Obviously, um, it's denigrating. I guess it's big time objectification.
as props in these music videos. No, like literally, like actual literal props. The only man you'd ever catch me being a prop for is my man's Kevin. We stand Kevin in this household. I mean, him and also Kylo Ren. He could choke me like he did General Hux, and I'd thank him. Yeah. My family watches.
So I mean, that's interesting. That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, you can't say why does Catwoman have a round butt at the funeral for Batman in the video game, and then say something about like sexual asphyxiation. I'm not mad at her for doing it. I'm saying why act like we don't need sexuality?
These videos. If you're watching this, it was a joke. Speaking of Kylo Ren, remember when his face was revealed in the first movie and it triggered a lot of fanboys? How did you feel when Kylo Ren took his helmet off?
I and my entire theater laughed. He just looks so emo, New York City hipster douche.
Does the casting of Kylo Ren bother anyone else as much as me? I watched The Force Awakens again, and Kylo does not sit well with me. He's such a dork, for lack of a better word. I can't help but think of Andy Samberg every time I look at him.
Okay, now keep this in mind because what's interesting here, the tie from the last video is the incel thing. So if he looks like a dork, like an angry dork, like like the angry dorks, quietly take over the world. They'll dedicate their whole life to having a chip on their shoulder. So to me, when I first saw this video, I thought this Kylo Ren part was really, I guess, cool because it's like I actually think it's believable based on the whole incel thing. Shout out to my suspiciously hot Raichi Glant.
I like the next big villain to look a little more badass. He doesn't even look anything like Han or Leia. I don't know, just my thought.
I thought, how can Leia and Han produce a kid that looks like that? They were not pleased. Adam Driver was being called too ugly to play Kylo Ren. But the strange thing is, Kylo Ren quickly developed a cult-like following of a bunch of girls. Literally all the girls were like, if Kylo Ren choked me like he did General Hux, I'd thank him. Literally all the criticism that the fanboys gave Kylo Ren, such as looking too femme, too emo, were the exact things that attracted the fangirls.
I think he's doing like high-end modeling now, though. Diving in the beach, diving in the water and shit, with the water rushing up on him and shit. Running with horses and shit. I seen some fucking commercial like that. I thought it was hilarious. But he's doing his thing. He's ex-military too. He's ex-marine. He's a real capable guy.
To Kylo Ren in the first place. This is why e-boys, femboys, and men who look submissive and breedable are really popular right now. Because these type of men challenge the male gaze head on. Men think women want men like from the Magic Mike movie. I mean, this is literally why we have the Chad meme. This group of, well, I can't say the group name because I'll get demonetized, and
we obviously got to go back to look at that scroll so I can get the right pause going here.
I mean, this is
all right. So the Virgin Walk looks below parallel, avoids eye contact, and looks away immediately if accidentally contacted. Too polite, gives too much space for oncoming traffic, struggles to find comfortable hand form, might be too tense and rigid. Walking pace, form lacks fluidity because he struggles to auto walk, analogous to always manually breathing, walks too fast, compulsively needs to pass anyone walking slightly slower than him, slightly, long strides, stiff straight arms, little arm movement, the head is craned forward, hair seems to overreact to wind, the back is slouched, the back is slouched, excuse me. The bonus here is that the clothing is all neutral colored. He wears running shoes, only wears black coat, stands with a weird posture, and is insecure about how he walks. Sometimes he uses headphones to escape potential conversation or mitigate agoraphobic symptoms. The Chad. So this is where that incel versus the Chad, for which the incels, the guys who feel like they can't get laid and whatnot, or are rather doomed to never get laid. They hate these Chad type guys, these like supposed alpha dudes, and stuff like that, uh, a real masculine man, which I find myself to be. So this is kind of like this. I find this to be a personal diss to some extent too. Just like the virgin walk with the incel, they would be hurt by that shit, right? Um, has figured out how to always look everyone in the eye all at once. That's true. Does not register the emotions or feelings of others at all. That's cap. Intentionally slaps and batters the incoming traffic to make his own path. True. Hands always prepared to grab nearby fertile pussy. Terrible. Walking form is poised like a Greek statue, perpetually in contrapposto. Contrapposta. Rapidly tiptoes around like going to the store. Does not feel the need to pass anyone because he's already brutalized everyone nearby into submission. Oh shit. The hair has been firmly fastened to never react to wind or any laws of physics. The head is at a perfect vertical angle at all times. Has never heard a song in his entire life. Arms constantly flailing in confident, unpredictable ways. I'm not sure what the song one's about. Back is so straight you could measure structural foundation with his spinal cord. Wears visually painful bright neon attire, $3,000 highlighter boots with Giuseppe Zanotti. Does not wear a coat, is immune to cold. No one alive can insult his posture and get away with it. So funny. Anyway, the Chad. Super funny.
Literally why we have the Chad meme. This group of, well, I can't say the group name because I'll get demonetized and I want to keep my coin. This group of He-Man Woman Hater Club. They believe the ultimate peak beauty a man can achieve is the Chad. He is the alpha male. He rules over all virgin males. He can sleep with any woman he wants. He's rich. He's ripped. He's genetically superior. The term has a history of being used by many manosphere groups. And although this certain group's belief shouldn't be taken as seriously, the truth is, it's not that far off of what men think women want in men. For example,
I think some guys though too with the alpha mentality, some part of the alpha mentality is it's not so much always about like the stature of a guy. Like, yeah, of course you want to be strong and look strong and stuff like that, but it's also just about never quitting, never giving up, continuing to roll forward in the face of adversity type of thing. I think that's what it really is about for me personally. But I'm sure I'm just getting a little personal because of her triggering phrases for me, right?
Example, men don't buy nice cars to impress women. They buy it to impress other men. Men and women are competitive in nature, and these type of men aren't competing against women to see who can.
I don't know. I get why and how that could be true, but I also feel like if you like cars, you buy the car because you want to drive the car because it's like an amazing machine. It's beautiful. There's this desire element to it. I guess non-car head, non-engine, non-gear head people don't understand that. But yes, it is also to attract the other. But I think though you can't just be out buying cars if you don't really like them either. Just like you're not going to be out buying watches if you don't like watches. Like ultimately, if you get the nice watch, maybe someone's going to notice it. Maybe you're going to wear it on a nice casual date, just like you would jump into the brand new car. But it's like you got to go through effort to do things. You got to like stuff to get into it. So I think to sum it all up to acquiring nice things just for the opposite gaze. I don't know if it's dangerous to assume everybody's doing that, but to where it's a shallow thing, I don't think that I don't think that's nice.
Have the best car, they're competing against other men, which in a way is a search for other male validation.
how come I get more matches
Love
now
it,
that I
babe.
look like this than I ever did looking like this?
Lately, I've been really into the concept of the female gaze and the difference between what men think it is and what it actually is. So someone made a video talking about how the female gaze is based on the eyes and the hands. The reason you didn't get matches when you were super fit like that is because what you were subscribing to is the male power fantasy. It's the way men think women want them to look and not the way women actually want men to look. There's countless of studies of women saying,
Just based on her swag, that last girl with the beautiful curls and whatnot, she looks like, I mean, I don't know.
that they don't find this type of lifestyle attractive, that they don't find this type of man attractive or style attractive. Of course, there are women who do like and prefer more masculine looking and presenting men, but the rise in women who like feminine men has been rising drastically in the past few years. This is because masculinity is often associated with a lot of drawbacks. Hypermasculinity is associated with disloyalty, narcissism, unempathetic traits, and extreme aggression. So when Kylo Ren took off his mask and he wasn't a chiseled Chad like the fanboys thought he would be, but instead someone who challenged the male gaze, it got the boys TM angry.
I don't even know what the person. I don't understand this. I guess I really don't understand this. Why she keeps referring to the Kylo Ren thing. I think low key, Buddy's like 6'3" or something like that. He's huge. He's an ex-Marine. I'll say that again. He's an ex-Marine. He looks like an Olympic swimmer type dude. Those dudes are big. He's a big ass dude. So I think he's obviously in a costume in Star Wars, but everybody has different expectations of masculinity. I thought that was known, but I think that we tend to categorize stuff so much. That everybody begins to say that this is what a man is. No, that's what a man is. No, this is what a woman is. No, that's what a woman is. Like, it's just arguing about semantics, I guess.
And honestly, Kylo Ren isn't the only example that we can think of. I'm sure if y'all put two and two together, it's just the fact that there is a huge hatred for anything feminine. This is why a lot of men hate K-pop idols. And very often you see these type of men go out of their way and insult K-pop idols by calling them gay and just girls. Because according to their Chad standards, these type of men aren't considered real men, which is completely ridiculous because men come in all shapes and sizes. And other races. And it's absolutely hilarious because very often these are the type of men that...
I mean, now she makes a big effort to keep saying men. I think they're trying to erase the boundary of like a masculine, hardened type of dude and then like an effeminate guy. I think it's just an effort to be kind to people, but I don't understand why every definition of a soul or a spirit has to be ambiguous in order to be accepted. I think we need to learn about each other, but I think denigrating and trying to smudge the other out as if it's not legitimate, I think that's just so strange. And I think we're going to find this theme in a lot of other things. What's your take? Is a K-pop guy a masculine man, a manly man, a man's man, or a tough looking guy? Is he a tough looking guy, or does a K-pop idol look like he put a lot of makeup on, and did his hair very specifically, and was dancing all day? There's nothing wrong with dancing, but I'm saying he was dancing and singing all day, like with a face full of makeup, and he's all emaciated and skinny looking and just kind of like effeminate and stuff like that, with the whole like look and how they posture and stuff like that. Like that's a whole swagger. I just don't understand why we have to be like, that's a whole swagger for a guy who needs that swag, right? Like, so I'm saying what I don't understand is why we have to smudge the definition of other versions of men for the K-pop guy to be called a man too, when it doesn't seem like he's sticking to the old values of what a man is in a sense from a physical sense. Like I think once you start putting on makeup and cross dressing and stuff like that, like okay, like you should ascribe another preface to your pronoun or some shit because it's just it's interesting to me. I got no problem with people of other backgrounds and stuff like that. I just I just feel like this is the effort from a nicety way to say like um, the K-pop guy is he's no he ha ha. It's almost as she's happy with this. Like she's happy that the effeminate type or as she said or like girlier look or the docile look or the shy guy look. That's more in than the dude with the abs, and that's more in with the dude with the beard, or whatever it might be, or strong, whatever it might be, tall, shiny, whatever it might be. Now I'm forced to think like, okay, if there's an effort by her to, say no, like they should be seen as men too. I'm saying, okay, when she sees these guys dancing on stage, there's a sexual edge too, right? For her, like, does that turn her on? Like, like how people get, like how some people would get turned on to seeing like um, Beyonce get on stage, or Madonna, or who else? You know what I'm saying? Ricky Iglesias and shit. Like these type of fans, you know how it can be like obvious, but it seems like the K-pop stuff is so like cartoonized, um, and they're just really just like entertaining, going crazy across the stage. It seems really removed from sexuality to me, but hey, that's just my opinion, and I'm sure I'm wrong. Um, More to come on Asiatic culture, though. Um,
Make straight men question their entire sexuality.
He's got a nice smile. No homo, but as a non-homosexual guy, I'm gonna tell you, it looks really handsome. Only if you want me to. I mean, what?
The female gaze adheres to
the last dude wasn't even a straight guy. Believably, it's just like what? There, there's okay, Matt. There's definitely an effort to play up the androgynous stuff, the androgyny look. If you're familiar with that term, it means like where you can't quite tell if a person is female or male when you approach them. They say being able to approach and sex a person, determines exactly how you're going to treat them. So it can be really confusing for the brain if a person can't figure out if somebody's a female or a male. They're trying to do away with that. That's an obscure point of view that used to be kind of drummed back in the day. But she's definitely standing up for the effeminate guy. Look, shout out to her. Um, Everybody is beautiful. All people are beautiful. Um, it's like, what type of Ken doll do you want to be? What type of Barbie do you want to be? What type of Batman do you want to be? What type of, you know what I mean? Like, I think to some rate, everybody has like a stylistic idol or finds like a certain type of icon person, like handsome or beautiful. And it's like, yo, I want to get my swag like that. I just feel like this is so crazy, like the K-pop stuff. Like now, will that become a thing? Like, will dudes start running around America, or will like, like, I guess that's a thing. But is it a thing? Like now, for instance, the e-girl look, more on the e-girl look coming up, like where these girls really are online and they are like adopting like a more Asian looking eye and like, doing more like different like movement for the camera and stuff like that. I think she actually has some videos on it too, so shout out to her.
what is being implied, not seen. This means if a guy comes across as gentle, soft, misunderstood, romantic, mysterious, chances are women will look at them through the female gaze, which will make women look at these men as a more viable romantic partner that can offer them love, complexity, and understanding. In a way, they have more to offer than a Chad could ever offer. However, just as the male gaze can be applied to what men think women want,
that's what I'm saying. Like like when I did the review on the incel community, in a sense, I said like it's sad to limit these people, like to limit their respect, to limit their the ready of to limit them and say they probably never would if they, no matter what they change in their life, they probably never would get a girl too. So I think that would be really mean, and like to me that doesn't seem like likely. You can share the sauce, let people know how to get it going. But I'm hurt because she said the Chad can't even be, in her eyes, she sees Chads from a monstrosity place. Like she sees Chads as like, not every dude with muscles and abs is a mean guy. That's just cap. If you play any sports, like guys are assholes on the court, but they love their girlfriends. These dudes, come on now, these dudes are, the football player guy is more likely to have a buoyant relationship than anybody else in the school. Like these, the weightlifter guy, these guys are smart guys, man. Like these, I just feel like even the 6'3", 6'5", I'm only 6 feet tall, so the 6'5" cross country runner dudes, they get girls and stuff too, and these are hardwired guys, studying physics and studying biology and stuff like that, running miles and miles. It takes so much electricity and so much hardwired strength and mentality to be able to run miles and miles and miles and miles at it, just like it does to study for hours and hours and hours and hours. So like masculinity and alpha male shit, there's an intellectual side to it, and then there's a physical, spiritual side to it. And a real alpha is understanding how to meld all of those components in order to be his best self. That's what the whole point of it is. We're all gonna die. It's just about trying to have a fucking good time while you're here. So to say that a Chad or an incel would not have the, to say what a Chad wouldn't have the ability to take care or to love a woman or to be loving is crazy. And also to say like, if an incel would stop crybabying and get his shit together and get his game right and get off the evil shit, all the way off the evil shit, he gonna find him a girl and shit. There's plenty of people who turn their lives around from addiction and depression and all types of stuff. It's like the same thing. It's a different drug of a different social sort that incel shit.
the same can be said about the female gaze. So maybe it's not the fact that the male gaze is the only thing that's toxic, or being ultra feminine is attractive, or that femininity itself is attractive. Maybe it's just the fact that both gazes are in the wrong.
How to find great content.
I just think that there's something to that, and to say like, oh, maybe they're both in the wrong when it's like we're getting too far removed of natural ability. Like people being like people, we are a species. Like we have certain characteristics, certain habits are very natural too.
How to make your content SEO friendly.
It's like, should we really be walking around? I guess from one perspective, people are already walking around like this. Like we don't even talk to one another. Everybody's just staring at their remote device that can attach them to thousands of other people, but we ignore all the people we come in physical contact with because everybody's so goddamn scared, doesn't know how to be like. People don't know how to be polite to one another. Don't know how to have any consideration for one another. So. And now it seems that there's so many social rules being microaggressively enforced that it gets confusing. So people would rather just, avoid any awkward interaction, because that would hurt to get to know somebody, or that would hurt to find out that somebody's interested in some shit that you're not interested in, or to think that somebody was going to compete with you, or there's a lot of scary little social thoughts out there that keep us from like wanting to fucking be kind to one another in passing, I guess.
Why, hello there. Let's talk about the female gaze. So there isn't really a definition for the female gaze. Its theory surrounds what is not being shown, unlike the male gaze, where it's defined by what is shown.
No, I don't think she's trolling. I think this is a performative thing right here with the mustache and whatnot. I think she's trying to get you to think about what she's been saying about the K-pop guys and your personal relationship with sexualization and what you prefer or what you think is feminization or masculinity. When I look at her face, I see this. Her eyebrows are scrumpled up, right? I see the freckles. I see the hair and the hair bob cut, or rather the wig, her lips and the mustache. And I'm thinking, okay, the mustache. There's something jokerish about that, trolling you a little bit. But I think there's an intellectual thing going on there to say that she's challenging these norms.
Female gaze isn't about females dominating the screen. In 2016, Jill Soloway spoke about the challenge of defining the female gaze. She said that the female gaze is really about using the presence of a female perspective on screen to emphasize the story's emotions and characters. If the male gaze is all about what the audience sees, the female gaze is about what the audience feels. In other words, the female gaze is to be seen, understood, and accepted, with flaws and all. This is why women enjoy looking at other women just as much as men do, but from a different perspective. This is why there's so much historical art depicting women.
But that's still the female gaze and how they use it as coin amongst each other.
As feminine divine beings. It's the rosy cheeks, the frizzy hair. Are you finished? Thank you. It is the performance of femininity. The female gaze at first glance seems like a very nice idea, but honestly, it's just as toxic as the male gaze, as it still pressures women to perform femininity. Performative femininity is the unrealistic, socially constructed ideals and standards placed on women. Women having flowing hair and being posed perfectly by a lake where little...
Now, from a guy's perspective, I'm thinking, seeing performative femininity growing up, I always thought that women enjoyed their sense or essence of performative femininity, where they're, flicking their hair and moving their nails a certain way, twisting their hips a certain way, flashing their teeth a certain way, and how they take care of themselves. It's like, I always thought that it was something that they enjoyed too. From a swagger perspective, I know, like, I don't want to end up sounding like misogynistic just because I think like that like collecting or putting together a swag could be enjoyable. I'm pretty like creatively inclined, so that's how I look at it. But I see how it can get misused and applied as a pressure to women to make them feel like, oh, I have to look a certain way, I have to dress a certain way, and then they see it through the lens of pressure. Anybody that I see that's like swaggy and then has understood or kind of just likes to feel fresh, I always felt like it's just a fun self art to have for yourself, to curate a look or to curate a mood based on the items you choose or how you do your hair or even how you educate yourself. But yeah, I definitely see how it can be make some people pretty butthurt about the pressures of trying to uphold certain beauty standards.
little ducks and swans can serenade them isn't necessarily real either. It's still setting women in a box where they have to still perform for another person's perspective. It's that little voice of self-criticism that you feel every time you go out without wearing makeup. You almost feel guilty for not performing femininity all the time in your daily life. Sometimes you might even catch yourself.
No, like that's obviously really interesting. So think about that. Try to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Like if you're a dude, think about this from the female perspective. If you're a female, can think about this from the male's perspective. What do you feel the need to put on makeup, or are you only putting on makeup so you look pretty just in case you meet somebody cute? And that's just a nice way of saying for the male, right? Or for the counter opposite for which you sexually prefer. So I like to include those little tidbits like that as far as the sexual orientation stuff, because we do live in a society where we're trying to learn about each other. Like I said, my prior thoughts are just more about like not having to reduce the lane in which the potential other might come from. And should we have to live in a society where we have to over tag one another? We can't all just be people. You got to over tag and preface and pro and pronoun everybody nervously. You got to be. You can't say. There's just a lot of different PC culture politics that I think are dismantling just normal social interactions and shit.
Yourself being too judgy towards other women, and you might feel even guilty about it. But these feelings are not inherently your fault. Performative femininity pits women against each other. It's basically like one big contest that we're all simultaneously losing. And all of this is so subconscious that it's hard to pinpoint when you're feeling it, because we kind of had it embedded in our.
Now we got to also talk about if there's a downside to performative femininity and it's difficult to pinpoint, then you can definitely pinpoint the positive edge of potentially toxic female gaze. Because now if a girl on the competitive side, if a girl goes into a room and she is much better looking than the next girl, what's she gonna say to herself? She's like, I look good. My details look way fire than hers. She's rewarding herself and congratulating herself for putting in the effort to best edge the next person. That's like a competitive thing. So you should be able to pinpoint the inverse.
Frontal lobe since we were kids. Let's take Disney movies, for example. In Disney films, the target for little girls is to always want to be the princess, not the ugly old witch. Little girls want to be the fairest in the land, not the.
But is there something wrong with it? Why would you want to be the ugly old witch though?
The second fairest in the land. Performative femininity in children's movies can be found anywhere. Sorry, I just had to do that. Have you noticed that in the majority of anthropomorphic?
So I guess that's what it is. That's what she's doing. Shout out to her again. Please let me quote her name quickly again. Salem Tovar. She is very smart. She is very performative, it looks like, and very intelligent. She puts a lot. Again, I'll say she puts a lot of effort into her videos. I respect her content. I watch her content. I'm going to continue to watch her content. Shout out to her. So she here is performing. This would be androgynous performative behavior then to flagship that and give that some acclaim and some support. This is performative androgyny. Performative androgyny as a theatric effort.
Movies? Did I say that right? Oh well. Talking animal movies. The male counterparts are usually scruffy in neutral tones and look more animalistic than their female counterparts. And the female counterparts are very often white and lighter tones with eyelashes and sometimes even womanly bodies, despite the female and male characters being both animals. Because performative femininity doesn't just stop at frogs. So that means that this frog has to have huge bobbies. I need to wash my eyes with holy water. Either way, female or male gaze.
Well, since the material is for human beings, or I assume if there's a character with breasts and it's a frog and it's a show for humans, then that's why there would be that anthropomorphology there. Uh, you can't recognize the natural sexual cues of a frog because you're probably not familiar really closely with the sexual organs of a frog, right? So how can they really be highlighted to trigger your brain there, because they're trying to sexually trigger you. So it can't be done if you don't recognize the genitalia of such, or the genuflections, or the interaction, the sexual interactions that a frog would have with another frog. So to over explain why you're seeing titties on a frog is because a goddamn movie made for humans.
It's still putting women inside a box, and both gazes are still looking at women within the binary. So much so that not even a freaking frog can escape the male gaze or the female performativity. Sure, you can feel feminine every single day of your life, but it's hard to perform it every single day. And sure, you can feel masculine every day of your life, but it's hard to perform it. In general, it's pretty hard to meet the harsh standards that come with each gender stereotypes. And I think it's time to start thinking outside of these two binary gazes. Someone that I think challenges both the female and male gaze perfectly is artist and musician Dorian Electra. Dorian Electra is a gender fluid musician who's best known for their music and art that challenges gender expression. They wear more masculine clothing, but with a feminine twist.
Okay, with performative works like this, like where people cross dress and stuff like that, I think um, I think there's a little bit of the, pick me, or the look at me, or the, I'm different type of shit going on. This is obviously a Homo sapien, a goddamn human being. So, like, but people want to carve a lane that's like, yo, this is my lane. I'm this person. Like, so I think some of us are wired to really be like that, to be, to really be extra different. I, there's some mix into that, and it's definitely an expression of their sexuality, which there's nothing wrong with. Um, I wonder how much a person like this is inspired by like Madonna or Lady Gaga too. There's a little superstar shit in there too. They want to be superstars too, and there's certain ways to get a lot of attention when you're doing provocateur type shit.
Great songs about being a man, but
now let me be even more specific. Just because it's provocateur, or rather because that person or they may be a provocateur, it doesn't mean that they're not performing within their own sexual esteem. That it doesn't make it illegitimate just because it's extra. Like, for instance, I just bought a Barbie for my little daughter, my 4-year-old, and it was the extra doll, the Barbie extra. She had a fur coat on, she got a skateboard on her, a CD player, a Walkman. She got all types of stuff on her. An MP3 player. She got a microphone with her. She has all types of stuff. A dog. Her clothes are a spatter with all types of cross colors and patterns. She's Barbie extra. Because you decide to be extra, it doesn't degrade your sexuality. I think for most people, it enhances their sexuality. For them personally,
satirical way, all while wearing makeup, but still presenting in a masculine way by lowering their voice when they sing. Dorian says, I'm not a woman dressing as a man. It's so much more complex than that, nor do I feel like a man all the time. So then how can we categorize
I think what's missing with these topics is like I said, the grasp for power. It's a way to be powerful though too, to say like, I'm not adhering to female and or male standards. I'm doing what the fuck I want to do. There's the do without Wilt, Crowley and lore to that. And that's why, unfortunately, like stuff like cross dressing and stuff like that in the past has been like akin to like satanic ritualism and being a Luciferianite and stuff like that, because it's about breaking the rules and doing exactly what you want to. That's why obviously conservative Christianity doesn't like stuff like this, because it bends the old rules, the old unfortunate rules. This is interesting stuff, but I'm also getting that sense where, like I said, it's really about like wielding power. Like I'm more powerful than you because you're locked into like, oh, you're a man. Oh, you only define yourself as a man. That must suck because you're under pressure. I can do what the fuck I want to. Jeans and a t-shirt on Monday and a flamboyant dress on Wednesday. You know, and I'm a lumberjack, but I also run a daycare. You know, like it's just like trying to keep people off their toes, and it's definitely performative though. There's some part of it that's performative, but I think it's deeply expressive and legitimate to the person. Um, Expression is important. That's what I'm saying. Okay, what I get confused by when I start to see this stuff, because I really don't. I try not to conflate. I'm really trying to float on these thoughts and really try to consider like what does this stuff mean. So I'm saying, okay, like if you feel like it's a weight for women and or men to be performatively masculine or feminine, is it a weight for androgynous types to be performatively androgynous? Is it? Because we're all human, remember that.
People who don't fit the male or female gaze. Well, that's just the problem. The female gaze is all about performing femininity, and the male gaze is basically saying the same thing except more sexualized. But what people don't talk about is that these two gazes come together to create kind of a toxic dynamic, which can really end up hurting both parties, especially women. This can lead to women feeling like they're not feminine enough, that they're not pretty enough, they're not dainty enough, and they put themselves under the pressure of being perfect 24/7, even when a man isn't around. This is known as the internalized male gaze, which is even a bigger facade and greater performance than femininity itself.
I think with something like that, it's more about trying to understand how to stay in rhythm with being beautiful, because it's like if you fall out of rhythm, you know, that's why it's why people get their hair cut and their nails done and facials and stuff like that on a certain type of schedule, because you don't want to fall out of rhythm. It's very interesting to see these type of qualities being presented in a way that's like toilsome or laborsome, because you have to keep up with the performance. Sorry about this commercial here.
The best traffic sources your competitors are using to get traffic to their website? Well, that's really easy.
So we're going back just a little bit. We're almost done with this.
Performance than femininity itself.
The reason why you always go on.
Have you ever been driving in a car and all of a sudden think to yourself, I should probably jut out my jaw while I'm driving just in case someone is seeing me? Or how about when you go get a Starbucks drink and you pretend to be the main character and you do a lot of this? I have some very unfortunate news for you. You are suffering from internalized male gaze.
This is true. This is true. I think as a result of culture and style, though, we all do this type of stuff, though. I mean, or like I said, is this like a pretty person habit, though? Does a homely person or ugly person have this same skill to basically perpetrate a certain energy?
And it's the biggest reason why you feel ugly all the time. You're craving to be looked at, to be desired and wanted by men that aren't even paying attention to you. And no one really wants to talk about this because I think it's something that's shamed a lot in the woman community. Is that a thing? I guess in girl world. It's like low-key embarrassing to admit. I know I mentioned in the beginning of this video that I used to be unhealthily obsessed with appearing attractive to men, even when they weren't around me. Even though whenever I viewed myself through the male gaze, I couldn't help but feel like this. Like, I felt like literally like the ugliest little thing in the corner that no one wanted. And it really wore me down for the longest time. I don't have a flat stomach and I don't have huge bobbies. You know, I just don't look like Megan Fox. And because I was socialized at such a young age from Disney films, from boy movies, from the men around me, and just society in general, I was worried at the age of 7. At the age of 7.
All right, lots of thoughts here. I'm thinking, okay, like in a prior video, I said something about like I personally am attracted to a woman that has a flat stomach, but there are other characteristics and values and body types that are very attractive. Or the same girl who doesn't have a flat stomach, maybe she has perfect lips and perfect nose, and her symmetry and T zone is amazing. Her skin's, vivid. So that's really limiting when we get so butthurt about what another person likes. And that's one of the things I'm trying to dissect here is like, are we really living in a place where you can't even say what you like though? Because how can you even say what you like if you have to fixate so many unnatural prepositions for your thought? You gotta, you know what I mean? It's just you can't even get to what you really like because you're too nervous to express what you like. I think it's suppressing. Like if you like androgynous men, or you like androgynous women, or androgynous human beings, you should be able to come out and say that. Like, yo, I like androgynous human beings. That's my thing. What's your thing? Oh, yo, I like Megan Thee Stallion type body bitches. Yo, what's your thing? Well, I like the silent type of girl, like agoraphobic type, just wants to stay inside, like we all like different types of people. I think we should be able to say what you like without like the fear of somebody persecuting you about what you actually do like. You should be able to say what you actually do like. I understand that there's like people get upset about subjecting people to certain standards and sexual standards. So you do have to be careful and respectful, but you should be able to say what you enjoy, or what you like, or what you would look forward to in a sexual partner. That's the whole idea of sexuality. That's the shame that we have now. So that's what body positivity stuff is, like creating a new wave of shame for those who have like if you like that woman or that guy who's in what they call the top 20% of best looking people in the available population, then you're a fucking bad guy, and your standards suck because they've been ascribed by masculine rape and pillage culture. Some of that's true. Low key, some of that's true. Not even low key, very high key. A lot of that is true. It's just that not every individual is operating on that when they see the type of body desirability that they would either strive for or go for in a mate. Shout out to my wife here. The harsh standards of femininity and masculinity from earlier in the video. Yeah, those harsh standards, standards, and that's what I'm saying. I understand, baby, too, like, right, that they're opening up like people are just trying to open up lanes for themselves, so there's not just that binary standard, you know. I'm into the tertiary and the quad standard. I'm into it. I'm not hating on the variance. I believe in variance. Variance is amazing, and I just feel like people should have the liberty to say what they like, though, as long as they're being respectful.
That I was too fat because I was taught that my mere existence, even as a child, was to eventually please the males around me and to be their eye candy, and that I had to put all my value and self-esteem and worth in how I look like. And obviously, if I'm not being valued by the males around me, then there's something clearly wrong with me. There's something fundamentally wrong with me, which led to years and years of body dysmorphia that I am still to this day affected by. I know many other women out there struggle with this. And when we look at ourselves through the female gaze, yeah, it feels great for a little bit. And I think there are people out there who can use the male gaze and female gaze to fix their self-esteem almost, and it can be very validating for themselves. It still makes me feel very anxious to view myself through those lenses, because guess what? I don't feel feminine every single day. I don't feel feminine all the time. When I view myself in the male gaze, I think, well, I'm not doing something sexy enough. And
I think that like sometimes, I mean, I definitely see, you know, like she's obviously younger than me, so it's like I think like okay, she's seen like the crystals behind her, right? She's really aesthetically pleasing. You know, she takes pretty good fine care of herself, from the lips and the eyeshadow and stuff like that. Um, so what I get a sense of is that she's pretty aesthetically inclined, right? So I'm thinking, with this male and female gaze thing, like how I see women, I'm saying, okay, like it's really difficult for me to understand how performing femininity like that could be difficult per se, because I'm thinking, okay, your voice is like very nice and like your eyes shine in a very feminine way. Like, sometimes I don't think that we're aware of the specific little traits that we have that are going to be automatically masculine, automatically feminine. Um, um, to certain viewers. Now, how we see ourselves is different. So I get that. I get that. I'm just wondering if she would be willing to admit that there would be a pool of females or men that would see her as feminine constantly. Um, now our inner speak is something different. Like that's always going to shape a certain self view for yourself. You know, you're going to apply different types of pressures on yourself than the world does. So I'm saying, like, I'm reacting to watching her say that, so that's why I'm saying that. So I think, low key too, a quick secret for you guys out there. Understanding and learning how people do see your beauty. You might not see yourself how other people see you, you know? So a lot of times people, like, if you think, you know, a lot of times people see you a little bit prettier than what you see yourself, I would think. But um,
when I see myself in the female gaze, I think, well, I'm not dainty or cute enough to do that. And this is because both gazes are problematic and sexist and have very impossible standards for people to live up to. Why should I care if I fall under the male or the female gaze? Either way, I'm going to be putting myself in a box where I am to perform a certain task at all times for someone else's perspective. And that is tiring. And because the male and female gaze discourse has gotten a lot bigger, and the whole "I was written by a man" trend.
Again, I understand that. I'm just wondering, is there anything that you feel like you perform for yourself?
Has gone big as well. People on TikTok are finally calling out just how toxic both sides are.
Hey boss, so I know you're looking to move your employees like me to work from home, but how am I supposed to bring this thing with me? Actually, Nextiva makes it easy. Since their phone system isn't
My bad, guys. I'm just reading. I was trying to catch a couple of them and decide if I wanted to go back. These type of like little TikTok tidbits are always pretty
Gaze
interesting.
discourse has gotten a lot bigger, and the whole "I was
So
written
I'm
by
just
a
gonna
man"
pause a
trend
couple of
has gone
these.
big as well. People on TikTok are finally calling out just how toxic both sides are.
Funny how the female gaze is so overwhelmingly white. I hate the quote female gaze vids under the sun. It's not the female gaze, it's your neoliberal pastel aesthetics forced diversity Pinterest board. Do I look like I was written by a man or a woman? Everyone doing this trend looks like they would get the ugly friend to film the TikTok or take pictures of the rest of the friendship group to not ruin their aesthetic. Whoa. That has so many layers to it. Do I look like I was written by a man or a woman? Everyone doing this trend looks like they would get the ugly friend to film the TikTok or take pictures of the rest of the friendship group to not ruin their aesthetic. But this girl is naturally pretty. The glasses like troll like, oh, I'm being different. 70 serial killer glasses. Like, why do you have those on? Why do you have those on? You have those on because you don't want to ascribe to the male gaze, right? That's what I'm saying. There's an edge of trolling with this shit. It's defiance. Some of this is defiance. It's not so much, oh, I don't want anybody to look at me, or I'm getting tired of performing. It's really like I think a large part of this is defiance. I can't do this trend because I'm dumb blonde. Because I'm a dumb blonde with daddy issues and has big jugs, so I know I'm written by a man. I mean, that is obviously limiting to have people like kind of like project, to have people assume who you are and how you might project onto the world based on your looks. Obviously, right? According to y'all, conventionally attractive, written by a man, unconventionally attractive, written by a woman.
It just
So, see that's limiting. That's saying like no man's gonna find you attractive because you're not, or because you're not the proclaimed 10 or something like that. That's not true. That's cap. That's all the way cap because that's not true. Somebody's always gonna be able to find you beautiful, especially if you're above a 6. Like you're straight, low key. Like people just don't know that. Um,
doesn't make any sense. It's just dumb. Humans are so complex in and out that I just don't agree that they can both be put into the binary gazes. We spend the majority of our lives trying to find out new ways to be attractive to people who don't even care about us and to be accepted by people we don't even like. And you don't even realize it until it truly starts to break you down, and all of a sudden your self-esteem plummets, and then you start to resent you. You start to resent your body, your mere existence, for not meeting those very dumb standards. I truly believe the key to solving this is to step back and to redefine the male and female gaze by seeing what you like. How do you view yourself? What is it that you desire? What is your gaze? The moment you start taking back your power and start doing things for you is when you truly start to value you for being you. And of course, the journey is not going to be easy because we've been taught since day.
this is exactly what I was saying. Like you do have to have a personal scope for yourself. Like you got to understand who you are, know thyself. That Drake shit. Like you got to know yourself. Like you got to know yourself, and then you can better figure out how you want to go, like how you want to go about in this world, and how you want people to perceive you. So it like perception is important, and we wouldn't have adages like first meetings and first impressions rather. Um, that wouldn't be a pertinent phrase if it didn't matter how you present. So it does matter understanding why you're choosing a certain style, um, a certain like outset emotional, uh, um, mannerism based, sexualization based, sexuality rather, based on your sexuality, um, the clothes that you like, the music that you listen to, how you do your hair, how you prepare yourself for things. It all adds up to your overall swagger. How you study, what you want to do for a living, what you do for a living, what you've done for a living. There's a lot of different factors that add to your swagger as a person. Um, Swagger is a real word, by the way. Like so, um, it's a mood. Um, it's only because we live in such a society that we even get a chance to experience and express swagger. Because a lot of people like are having trouble like feeding themselves around the world and staying healthy and like having a place to actually be warm in. So there's a lot of different notions that add up to the luxury of being able to beautify oneself. Um, and that's really sad. But that's the truth. The truth is that even being able to me sit here and be a pundit or her sit there and focus on male gaze, uh, it's all luxury bullshit because without like if you're in a third world country or other world country, you're hoping you're leaning on that male or female gaze so for survival, like actual survival, not so you can go to the mall and get another purse or not big so you can be the most popular person in school. um you're trying to present yourself as the best pick for survival. We're really removed away from that, so we're able to like draw our habits into all of these little games, which makes for interest, but it's all luxury based. Um, Luxury based habits, man. Luxury based approaches. We're all spoiled assholes. Um, if you get to put an outfit together at all, you're a spoiled asshole. Uh, if you're getting haircuts and and you got running water and you just finished eating some protein and like and you're healthy and you got extra room for grandma and she can just be in the room peaceful and in the house and in a household peaceful, and there's a lot of different issues um, that we avoid because we live in Western society um, with the conveniences of such. So it just gets me going down in a place of like, man, I could continue to dilute this thought, but I'm saying it's really like all of this shit is like really um, performative and for fun. It's for play. Storybook talk. It's the stuff of romance novels. Um, it's semantic. It's being made. It has to be made out to be a political and policy rights thing to put a little bit more attitude behind it. But I think people should slow down and realize like, oh, I only get to like be concerned about my hair because like I live in a society where there's some opportunity and I don't have to be downtrodden because I went to like a school or there were some institutions for me to actually lean on. However flawed those institutions, I actually had the ability to lean on a couple of them, be it the horrible school or the energy supply plant or the water plant. At least you had those because they made life a lot better. I think we forget that sometimes. So it's easy to start taking all of this like all of these positions really hardcore when you forget that you know other people have it way worse, and they're forced to use that male or female gaze from the not so carnal but a base place for survival. So that's my reaction. That's my thought on that. I think it's really interesting. I know I'm a nerd, and I'm going to continue to dissolve these thoughts like that. But um, There's something to that though. There has to be something to that. Like it's a convenience thing for me.
One that these two things are the only things that you have to go by. These two things are the only things that are going to give you value, that are going to help guide you through this life in order to attract people. But I genuinely think it's time to dismantle both views. We need to start accepting ourselves as just being human. Not everything should be a performance. We should be allowed to do everyday, daily tasks without worrying how we're performing.
And that, okay, to end again, to reiterate, that's what I'm saying. You should be able to do daily tasks and carry out about your life, go about your life in the way that you want to, traveling from institution to institution, to convenience, and back home. Some people don't have homes, you know. That's that. So obviously, I'm taking it back to a classism approach where it's like that, you know, education is a class thing. Like to be educated about something it's like a luxury. It's not like it's a luxury. It is a luxury to be able to further educate yourself because you don't live in a hut somewhere and you don't have to like process your own water from salt water to fresh.
Those tasks. Sometimes we're just doing daily tasks mindlessly like Sims, and Sims don't care about how they look when they set their house on fire or accidentally barbecue their baby. So why should we? That is the lesson for today's video.
Shout out to my Sims account. I'm gonna you broadcast the Sims. I got a beautiful house in Sims. I don't want to be a Sim. That's why I'm trying to take a look at some of this stuff. I don't want to run around like an Autobot with some ambiguous programming set.
Reject modern humanity and be a randomized sim. Okay, y'all, that is it for today's video. I really hope that I touched someone's heart out there somewhere. Remember to like and subscribe and comment down below your experience with the male or female gaze, how you broke out of it, how you used to, deal with it, or whatever. Just talk to me about your experience.
Okay, as my last closing thought, this to end this here, how you broke out of the female gaze. How you broke out of the male gaze. So where did you end up if you broke out of it? I'm just wondering what that emotional space would feel like. Let me know in the future here if you enjoyed this video and if you want to see more content like it. I'm gonna keep bringing different stuff, some stuff that you guys wouldn't expect. I got a world rocker coming next. Hopefully one or two guys get a chance to view it. For anybody who was here and saw it, I appreciate you. Wife, I love you. Shout out to some of the potential viewers out there. Grunge, my guy Tommy Gunn, Salami, Anweef, Rafe, these people. Fuck with you guys. I hope everybody's having a good evening or day whenever you catch this. We're going to compile these videos up so one day people will go back and check these funny bones out here. So the male and female gaze, man. Not everything is what it seems. There's always another aspect to things, and that's why I'm trying to take a look at some of these social and human exchanges. So really interesting. I know I keep saying that, but have a good night.